I'm thinking about that scene at the Los Angeles County winter shelter, and they're talking about kind of that revolving door of services. You know, people go out and they're back in the street and they're back in the system, and it just seems kind of chaotic, right? And so I wonder, Kat, from your perspective, do you see, you know, the revolving door of very, you know, at the policy level, where if there was just a intervention to stop that revolving door, that, you know, we might be able to address things at a larger level?
Yeah, I think you definitely see the revolving door when charity is not organized well, as St. Vincent, I think, put it very succinctly. And I've been thinking, listening to Chuck, and also thinking a little bit about that quote. There's a group in Canada called the Canadian Observatory on Homelessness that talks about the causes of homelessness and classifies them as structural, systemic, and individual, which is a framework I've always found really helpful. So there are a constellation of reasons that people might become homeless, and some of them have to do with affordable housing, with discrimination, with a lot of things that are happening kind of at the very high level in the place where we live. And then there are reasons people might become homeless that have to do with the way the system is organized, and this is the revolving door that shouldn't be a revolving door. Are people being discharged from jail or hospitals without somewhere to go? Are the systems connecting well to be able to kind of pick those people up and have a quick way to get them back into housing? And then the individual causes, I think, are what some of the more ugly commenters on the video that we saw, the woman with her family, kind of want to pin everything onto, which is a crisis or something that you're going through personally. And I think the revolving door really speaks to that second layer. In a city, if your systems aren't organized well, and if at the level of a city you're not coordinating across the programs that exist, they could be the best programs in the entire world. They could be as well run as Chuck's programs are run, and you're not going to end homelessness because they're not talking to each other. And the other thing that I think about too in this movie is, and in the frame of people not being invisible, is data and kind of knowing where people are coming from. If organizations and systems aren't talking to each other, if you don't actually know who people are and how they're entering homelessness kind of writ large in your city, you're not going to be able to set things up in a way where you'll catch people as they're going between those revolving doors. So I think there are cities that do this really well, and there are cities that do it really poorly, and it's definitely something that can lead to and affect homelessness. But part of, I think, the Institute of Global Homelessness's role is within the ecosystem of Depaul University, where I think you see different groups and different people fulfilling different elements of St. Vincent de Paul's kind of vision, just around dignity and around, now a lot of the quotes are leaving my mind and I'm afraid I'm going to mangle them. I think the Institute of Global Homelessness is really trying to speak to this, helping charity to be better organized. So we try to work with city leaders to help them do that systems tier better, so that you can have organizations like Chuck's doing really good work that are linked into something that's not just going to ensure that someone ends up on the street kind of a year later.
If I could add something there, I think this video makes a pitch. It's not explicit, but for the housing first model, which is this idea of putting people in homes first, and then once they're housed, they can address the other collateral issues like health or employment and things like that. And I think there's lots of data that shows that can be a very effective intervention. But I also think that you need all kinds of programs working to get people ready for housing. So like our day centers where people come in and they become socialized, and that's where you make the contact and start working with them so they can get housed. But that's just, I think there are certain policies that work better than others, but as Kat says, we all need to be talking with each other, and I think there is a lot of territoriality in the nonprofit sector, and so breaking down those silos and being willing to share resources and share programs is critical as well.